Hello
Welcome
again.
aboard. What? Welcome aboard, everybody. It's Sunday night, and we are officially live. In fact, Scott, if you could do me a favor while I give us a grand introduction, if you could type in the chat box that if they're not seeing the video feed, they need to click the little button up above and start the video feed. So if you could type that in the chat box, that would be helpful. Welcome aboard, everybody. Sunday Night Live, and I'm Richard Dongard, for those who I have not met, and I am, of course, with my co-host, Scott Sandlin, who is busy typing in the chat box right now. Every Sunday night, we get together for the purpose of providing free training and education in hypnosis. This is, of course, a class that's available to those who are students at HPTI or ICBCH or Subliminal Science or really any other hypnosis training program. And we want to be able to provide you tools and resources so that you can be successful. Of course, this class is actually open to anyone who has an interest in hypnosis, even if they're not currently taking any formal training program or haven't done so yet. Our purpose is simple. Every Sunday night, to give you an opportunity to have high-quality training and experiences in hypnosis. Scott and I often have a guest. Tonight, we do not have a guest. You will be our guest. And we're going to actually guide you through a process of hypnosis. In fact, several processes of hypnosis so that you can experience it as well. But I'm really glad that you are here tonight. A couple things to note. First of all, there's a chat box down below, and you can type in the chat box. You can type anything you want to. You can ask me or Scott a question. And of course, if you see people doing a bunch of threes in the chat box, that's actually the way you applaud on the internet in a chat box. So that's what all those threes mean in case you see them. One other thing that's real important. Scott and I have created this page, thehypnostore.com, to provide hypnosis training, etc. There aren't any products on the webpage, so if you look around, you're not going to find them. However, I did put one thing right above us, and I put a self-hypnosis resource library that Scott Sandlin created. He created a great video that goes with those 3 MP3 downloads, and actually put them up above. And my hope is that if you would find such a resource to be valuable to you, that you'll go ahead and purchase it. We've also, by the way, a chance to troubleshoot the website. So we've priced it at a remarkable $9.95 to see if everything works the way it goes. That is actually a great value for Scott's Hypnosis Resource Series. Like I said, every Sunday night we get together, a chance to talk about hypnosis, self-hypnosis, and experience hypnosis. And I am joined, of course, with Scott Sandlin, the creator of HypnoThoughts.com. Hi, Scott. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Richard. Just happy to be here as always. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm actually in a hotel in Wichita, Kansas. You can see the shaking in my camera because hotel furniture is actually on my lap. And but I'm doing well. I'm doing great, and certainly great to have everybody here. In fact, tonight I'm going to be using self-hypnosis to help me go to sleep because as I've been driving to Wichita, I've been drinking giant iced teas. So I'm probably over-caffeinated, which means I'm going to have a hard time sleeping. You and I were talking on the phone earlier that one great there's a great thing about self-hypnosis in our daily schedule. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, and I'll get into a little bit more of it later, but I think that one of the best times to use self-hypnosis is right as you're getting into bed or right as you want to go to sleep. That window of time is one of the best opportunities to use self-hypnosis for a number of reasons. One is you got the time and no one's going to interrupt you, at least hopefully not. You're in a comfortable position, a few distractions, and you just have this moment to relax and let go and let these thoughts enter your unconscious mind as you're drifting off to sleep. So we'll get into more specifics of what kind of suggestions and processes we do there. But before we do, the HypnoStore, one of the recordings that is in that set right there, one of them is a recording that I love using for myself and clients for helping them get to sleep. So, Richard, if you have trouble getting to sleep tonight, recording number 2 of that 3 MP3 set is the recording that helps people get to sleep at night.
I actually saw that when I was posting it, and it's a 31-minute session take me into a deep level of trance and help me to drift off into sleep. Now, you said you use this yourself, but you also use it with clients. how do you use self-hypnosis in your professional practice? Because one of the things I do is I try to teach all of my clients self-hypnosis. My goal in my office is to teach my clients hypnosis so they don't need to keep coming back to me. So that especially when they come to me, they're getting a life. It's teach a man to give a man a fish and he'll remember this one. Teach a man to start a fire and I don't know.
You build a man a fire, he'll stay warm for one night. You set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life.
There you go. I was trying to remember exactly. I'm never good at poems or jokes or cliches. But I try to teach my clients what they need to know so they don't have to come back to me every time there's a problem, so they can solve it on their own. So I'm a big proponent of teaching self-hypnosis to clients. Do you teach your clients self-hypnosis? And if so, what is it you teach?
Sure. So you and I have a piece in common where we really like using a progressive relaxation induction as a teaching tool to help clients learn to self-soothe. And with the realities, while you're adjusting cameras, just everyone can focus on me. As you think about the realities of daily life, there's a number of stressors. Some are good, some are bad, some are neither good nor bad. Only thinking makes it so. And whatever they are, okay, at the end of the day, we want to give someone an opportunity to power down, or other times throughout the day. You give people opportunities just to reset. And so, yeah, I do like giving clients techniques for self-hypnosis. In general, the self-hypnosis I like to give my clients skills and tools for is pretty generic: stress management and forgiveness and motivation. I would say if I could break it down to three things, it'd be stress management, forgiveness, and motivation. And forgiveness would be forgiveness of self or forgiveness of others. Just because it could be the person who cut you off while you were on your way to work, or it could be the person you cut off and now you feel like a jerk because they were in your blind spot and you didn't see them. So you need to forgive yourself, you need to forgive someone else, I don't know. But a quick process for forgiveness of self and others, a quick process for motivation when you're feeling lazy, and a quick process for relaxation are the three main things that I do when I teach clients how to do this.
Now, you mentioned progressive muscle relaxation. Obviously, in today's class, we're going to teach the kinesthetic induction. I'm going to do that later on today. So stick around and you will know at the end of the class how to do great kinesthetic induction. The reason why I decided to teach that tonight is because a lot of people are good at auditory inductions or visualization inductions, but they're really struggle with that kinesthetic client. So I'm going to go through an induction that you can use with your clients. It's really very kinesthetic. But I use the progressive muscle relaxation induction often, and I've actually heard people say you shouldn't use it, it should be banned from hypnosis, it's boring. What's interesting is that Milton Erickson said boredom was one way to bring people into trance, and it is boring. But despite being boring, it teaches specific skills. So what's fascinating is if you go over to google.scholar.com, type in progressive muscle relaxation, you will literally find thousands of journal articles showing the benefits. So even though it's a simple induction, as I always say, it does not impress other hypnotists at the hypnosis convention, but it is something very practical for your clients. So when I teach self-hypnosis, I call it often skill-building hypnosis, and that's definitely something that I teach to my clients. What other techniques do you teach your clients in self-hypnosis? For example, what?
Well, I was going to say, it's funny that you say that because I say almost that sentence to my client. I will tell a client, it's crazy. I almost feel a little guilty charging you for this session because what you need is textbook intro to hypnosis. You don't need something really interesting and fun. You need something that's very fundamental and very easy. So really, you come to me, but what would benefit you today, pretty much any hypnotist could do, and that's why I'm going to teach you how to do it, so you don't need to go to pretty much any hypnotist. You can do it yourself. And that it's not impressive, it's not exciting, it's just doable.
I always say to my clients that, or I say to other hypnotists when they say, why do you use PMR? One of the things I say is simple people respond to simple suggestions. And so why not keep it simple? But in teaching my clients, a lot of them really struggle with relaxation. This is why they can't get to sleep at night. They don't know how to close the mind down and close the body down. and bring themselves into a state where they can just be. And for somebody who has never experienced that before, that type A personality is always on. PMR really is a great combination of both physical and mental processes. It can be useful. Now, let's say, Scott, that our class here tonight was, we got a pretty big class. We got Kay Waller, we got Tracy C., we have Gary, we have Mark, got all kinds of people. Lori Shaw stayed up one more time. Keith Anthony stayed up late. A whole bunch of other people in the chat room, Rick Paddock and
Jackson.
A lot of other people. But let's say we were in your office. How would you teach us self-hypnosis? What would you teach us? Can you
say there's a couple ways to do it. One is the PMR, and I won't go into the PMR too much because I think a lot of people already know a good progressive muscle relaxation. But I think another, just alternative is just an eye lock, just a classic eye catalepsy. And when I teach eye catalepsy with my clients, I teach it first with the cheat and then without the cheat. And so for those of you who don't know, eye catalepsy is a gluing of the eyes shut, an eye lock. And the cheat is if you close your eyes and look up like you're trying to look through the top of your head and try to open your eyes while you're looking up, your eyes stay closed. I tell them that that's a cheat when I do it with them, and then I teach them how to do that for real. So that is, here's the dry run, this is what it's going to feel like, now do that on purpose. And so what I like to do is I'll have a client glue their eyes shut, lock them down, and then as soon as they do that, they open them once to prove that they can, close their eyes with relaxation, and send that level of relaxation all the way down through their body. So there's a fractionation built in right there. And I like that because it's really fast, really physical, and I agree. I think there's getting kinesthetics in and getting them focused on their physical process right now instead of reviewing the day or previewing tomorrow. The more I can get them to just be here now. As cliche a sentence as that is, mindfulness and be here now is a wonderful tool for the job. So if I can get a client to, in the middle of their day or at the end of their day or whatever time, if they can just try to open their eyes, they lock, open their eyes once, close their eyes, send that relaxation all the way down through your body, now you're where you need to be. And that's a pretty light state of hypnosis, but that's okay. Because as they start going into, from there, I have them just take a quick deepener of an elevator ride or an escalator ride, and then just get into some wonderful affirmations, or alternate a 10-to-1 countdown with the affirmation in between each number. And I think that's a real easy way to do it. Let's just make the affirmation be, I'm going to succeed and do well at my job. Really generic. So, eye lock, can't open their eyes, they give it a good test, then they open their eyes once, close their eyes, 10, I can succeed and do well at my job. 9, I can succeed and do well at my job. 8, and so on. And each number, they relax a little further, and I will tell my client that allows us to compound that suggestions at multiple layers and depths of awareness. Is that true? I don't know, but it's a suggestion, and so if they take it, it's effective. And that, just doing that, I think is a 2-minute, 3-minute tops process that you can use with any client anywhere. They can find time for that because I don't expect my busy clients who have stress to take 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes to get centered. So we need to find things that are 15 minutes and less.
So what you just explained was a real simple process for self-hypnosis. And I'm going to guide the whole group through the process that you just described. Right. One of the things we want to do every Sunday night is give you a chance to experience hypnosis. So Scott just explained a real simple process. I loved it. And it's a way to teach self-hypnosis to clients. So I'll guide everybody through it, having just learned this method from Scott. And so imagine that you're in my office. You're sitting across the desk from me. You're sitting in one of the other recliners. And I'm going to be sharing this process with you. The first thing we need to do is we need to find an affirmation. There's a lot of power in affirmations. In fact, we should probably do an upcoming class on affirmations and how to write affirmations. But think of something that's useful to you. For example, I'm sitting in a hotel with my foot in a precarious position with an ice bag on it because, as I mentioned earlier, I had foot surgery about 3 weeks ago, and my foot's a little bit swollen. So one of the affirmations that I might tell myself if I were working with a hypnotist is, my body is self-regulating and can heal. My body is self-regulating and can heal. So that would be a great affirmation for me. But think of an affirmation that would be useful to you. Okay? If you can't think of anything, just go with Stuart Smalley's affirmation. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Because that's my favorite default affirmation. So think of just any affirmation that you need to hear that would be useful and helpful to you, and I'm going to guide you through the process that Scott just described. So take a breath, breathe in and breathe out. As you breathe in next and breathe out next, just close the eyes down. And as the eyes close down, enjoy this moment of serenity, this moment that you've set aside to learn something new and to experience success. As you breathe in and breathe out with every breath, let the muscles in your body relax. Simply let any tension of the day disappear. You can relax the shoulders. You can let the chin fall towards the chest a bit if that's helpful to you. As you breathe in and breathe out with each breath, relax a little bit more. You can even relax the little tiny muscles of the eyelids. You know the face has 200 little tiny muscles, even little tiny muscles in the eyelids. And when they relax, they become heavy. You may have heard a Hollywood hypnotist say your eyelids are getting heavy. It's not because there's magic in hypnosis, it's because you relax the eyelids, they become heavy. So heavy that even though you know with the conscious mind, you could open the eyes, try to open the eyes, you'll find they're so relaxed that they just stay locked down. Try to open the eyes, they become locked down, even more relaxed. You're doing perfect. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very relaxed. Now, with each breath and each number, simply reaffirm that affirmation that's important to you. You can do that out loud, or you can do it in your own mind. There's not a right or a wrong way, but starting at the number 10, going all the way down to 0. 10, repeat that affirmation that's important to you. 9, repeat that affirmation that's important to you. 8, repeat that affirmation that's important to you. With each breath and each number, relaxing even further. 7, repeating that affirmation that's important to you. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And at 0, noting how easy it is to step into that affirmation, making it a part of the rest of your night or the rest of your day. And because, of course, this has only been a short demonstration, with the next breath, simply breathe in, let that oxygen fill the lungs, let it rejuvenate every cell of the body, and open the eyes, feeling fantastic. So, what you just taught us, Scott, I sort of adapted and did it my own way, and that's what we should do. We should learn things from people and, try applying it in different ways. But is that similar to what you do with your clients?
Very much so, yeah. And like you said, the Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, gosh darn it, people like me. The generic one I give my clients if they don't have one, and I try to have it reach everywhere. And then we can emphasize or pick or things like this. But I think this helps spur thought. So I say, health and wealth, creativity and opportunity, joy and happiness for myself and the people all around me. That's what it is.
It's a great affirmation.
Creativity and opportunity, joy and happiness for myself and the people all around me. No, it's longevity. No, that's it. Whatever. You get the idea.
You can change it to different defaults of different people. That's perfectly okay.
Right.
One of my favorite defaults is, of course, email away, and each and every day, I get better and better.
Yep. Yep.
I suppose he's the father of affirmations.
He probably is. And then would Fritz no, Fritz Perls didn't do suggestions, did she? Who was the other? Who am I thinking of? The woman who would be the mother of. Oh, geez, who is it? She's got the Louise Hay. What do you think? Is Louise Hay the mother of modern affirmation? Maybe.
No, no, there you go.
No. Modern. I think.
The method that I use with my clients, I use what I call the power method of hypnosis. And it's just a real simple process. The P stands for bring the client to the present moment. The O stands for open the mind, or the client's mind, or our own mind in self-hypnosis to access internal resources. You see, I view hypnosis as a resource state. Not a mystical or magical state, it's really a resource state. And so is the resource state that I'm creating a learning or a concentration or a relaxation or an affirmation, or what resource state is it that is necessary? Now, I generally like my clients to write their affirmations out. So before we start, I'll have them write an affirmation on a piece of paper, an index card, or a yellow sticky. And in the process of guiding them through a hypnosis session so that they can practice, they can then explore, after they repeat the affirmation using a method like you use, what's important to them. Is this really a change they would like to make? Is this, what's the starting point for them? The explore part of this gives them a chance to, to do this within the context of an ecology check that NLP talks about. And then the R is, of course, to ratify the change, to step into it. And a great post-hypnotic suggestion I give my clients, but one that we can give ourselves in self-hypnosis is, I say to my clients in almost all of my sessions, and when you step out the threshold of the door, you'll be stepping into a new chapter of life where repeating an affirmation back to them. And so in my own self-hypnosis, I can ratify the change by saying, as I open my eyes and start the day, or, drift into a deep and natural sleep, or step over the threshold of the door, then I'll step into that affirmation. It's a great process for ratifying it. So this is a process of the 5 things that I try to incorporate into my self-hypnosis work with my clients. By the way, every Sunday night we get together here at hypnostore.com/Sunday for Sunday Live. Sometimes Scott and I have a guest, sometimes it's just Scott, sometimes it's just me. And our purpose, though, is always the same. Give you a chance to experience hypnosis, to try some things, and to learn some new things as well. So it's really great to have you all here tonight.
Richard G. Ray in the chat room brought up a wonderful question that I think fits with your model, your power model. He says, it seems the induction part goes okay, but how to give yourself the suggestion portion of the process? That's where all the work is done.
That's why I like the written affirmation. That's why I haven't put it on a card. We don't have to close our eyes in hypnosis or self-hypnosis. And one of the things I'll do is, there's a meditation technique called a Tratak meditation. It's when somebody, you can stare at a coin or at a candle or really at anything and bring all of your attention to that object. So I use the idea of a Tratak meditation to bring my clients' attention to the affirmation that they've written on the paper. And that's how my clients can give themselves the affirmation or remember the affirmation.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. So would you say you're teaching self-hypnosis on session 1, 2, 3? Where do you want to put that in?
I'm actually teaching self-hypnosis as soon as they walk in the door, although I might not tell them that that's what I'm teaching them. When I do an induction, let's just say it's the first session, and let's say I decide to do a progressive muscle relaxation induction. I may or may not, but let's just say I do. I'm actually teaching them progressive muscle relaxation. I'm teaching them self-induction. My goal is to always have skill-building hypnosis. I want them to come to my office and learn so that they can do these things on their own. This is why my clients don't struggle with smoking between the first and the second session. Because even though I didn't call it self-hypnosis learning, I taught them what they need to do between now and their next session. I often teach my clients mindfulness. It's a great way to bring them to the present. And it's a self-hypnosis technique. It's different than progressive muscle relaxation. It focuses on the breath. It simply has a person bring their awareness to the present moment. And when I'm working with my clients and teaching them what mindfulness is, what I'm really doing is teaching them self-hypnosis. Sometimes at the end of the session, whether it's the first or second or third session, I'll give them therapeutic homework, if you want to call it that. And lately, I've been teaching my clients Bob Otto's, light switch technique. That's another useful tool that I've seen out there, and I've utilized with clients. And so I'll say to my clients at the end of the formal process, maybe it's the first or the second or the third session, I'll say to them, let me teach you something that you can do between now and your next session. And you can do this anywhere. You can do this at a stoplight. You can do this at your desk. You can do this in bed. You can do this in the morning. You can do this at night. And I'll teach them something quick. But I'm done giving my clients, for the most part, 30 or 40-minute hypnosis CDs to listen to, because they don't take the time. And then they feel like they haven't done what they were supposed to. So I give them 2 or 3 or 5-minute assignments, and it becomes much more powerful. In fact, in that hypnosis resource series you created, you created a track called the 15-minute reset. I actually listened to the whole thing. It's actually only 14 minutes, 14 minutes and 28 seconds, so it's awesome. Yeah. But is that the type of thing that you give to clients as reinforcements?
Yeah, when I first got into hypnosis, I thought I needed to make recordings that were 45 minutes long so that I could pack as much value into the recording as possible. And I quickly found out that no one was listening to them, because these stressed, busy people don't have 45 minutes to get better, or they don't feel like they have 45 minutes. And so, like you said, they come back feeling like, I didn't do the homework, I'm a failure, or, oh, I'm sure things would have been better if I'd done the homework, and they set themselves up with this sort of nocebo and this, self-fulfilling prophecy if I didn't take time for that or any of those things. So you want to set I want to set my clients up for success. So I want to give them simple tools. Funny you mention it. The 10-to-1 countdown with affirmation that I use is something I've modified from a Robert Otto process as well. The Robert Otto process that he uses, he calls it Orange Blossom, and Roger Moore still uses it that way. I tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah, by the way, and Roger Moore's got a free MP3 on his website of Bob Otto's Orange Blossom, and it's awesome. By the way, we mentioned Bob Otto's name a couple times. So who's Bob Otto, and where are we going to be in May?
Yeah, Robert Otto is the head of the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association and the head of the International Association of Counselors and Therapists. And so those two organizations have one conference in May in Daytona Beach, Florida. Richard and I are going to be there, as we often are, and this year we are teaching a course together, a one-day course post-conference on working with addiction. Because I work in 6, and tomorrow I start another drug rehab center. It's one I've been turning them down as much as possible, but this one I'm excited about. So I'm starting another one on. I'm starting working at one. I'm not starting one. I'm starting working at one again tomorrow. And so Richard and I are going to be teaching a one-day class for the IMDHA IACT conference on working with addiction. And Richard, you're also teaching a class while you're there with with Kelly Woods, or is that at HypnoThoughts Live?
Yeah, that's at HypnoThoughts Live.
Forgive me. Yeah, I got them switched. Yeah. As soon as I started training.
So when your clients practice self-hypnosis, let's say for a week between sessions, okay, do you notice that exponentially increases their success? In other words, can I be a more effective hypnotist if I teach self-hypnosis? Or am I better off just letting them come see me once a week so that I don't confuse them?
Well, I'd say it's beneficial for 2 reasons. One, it does make it improves success rate. But number 2, it also self-selects people who are committed and really wanting to do the work, because you've made the work so easy. It's such a low bar to make it over that if they're not doing something that only takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, how committed are they? So it self-selects the people who are really going to do the work, and then it dramatically increases the efficacy of what you've done and reinforces the the resource state they were in right when they were in your office and right as they were leaving, that wonderful feeling, it lets them get back to that over the coming days. So I would say it's one of those easy things that you can do as a hypnotist that allows you to dramatically improve your success rate without having to work that much harder.
Let's talk about kinesthetics, Scott, because I said
Yeah,
we
okay, we should jump into that.
What?
I said, yeah, we should. We should jump into this right away.
So, what do you want to say about kinesthetics? I think a lot of people try to avoid them and pretend they don't even exist.
Well, I think a lot of people think kinesthetic means touch your client. And they think that if you have to do kinesthetics, that means you have to be lifting their arm and dropping it, or you have to be tapping them on the floor. No, we're talking about engaging their sense of touch. And I think one of the things that people don't get enough of when they talk about sense of feel, and that's what it is, right? Kinesthetics is a sense of feel. And that's not just feeling outwardly. That's also feeling inwardly with emotions, too. And I think that there's a lot of people who get diagnosed with anxiety disorders who may not actually have an anxiety disorder. Now, as a hypnotist, I don't diagnose or treat, but it's my opinion and experience that there's a lot of people who've been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder because they are highly kinesthetic. They are hyper aware of their feelings. And when those feelings are bad, it sucks. And so helping especially people who have anxiety to have those feelings not be their enemy and their sense of internal kinesthetics be a resource, and you can teach them how to use it. I often tell those clients that it's like the beginning of a superhero movie where they have this ability but they don't know how to use it yet, and if we can harness it, then they can be unstoppable. So I'd like to, when I identify a client as kinesthetic, whether they're an athlete or a sculptor or whatever it is, it tips me off right away. I want to be engaging them on that level often, and even if they aren't highly kinesthetic, getting in there is a great thing to get into the sense of feelings. So that's me. What about you?
I am a licensed, and I do diagnose and treat because I am a licensed therapist. I agree with you. I think you're totally correct. A lot of things, it's interesting, if you look in the DSM-5 for anxiety or panic disorder, what you'll actually see is the first 11 symptoms are very physical. And that's because our anxiety disorder clients often don't have a handle on an internal ability to control their emotions. But, some people, we go back to the idea in NLP of representational systems and learning systems. Some people are visual learners. That's our person who they buy something at IKEA and they pour all the crap out on the floor and they look at the picture in the box and they try to build the picture. Or the auditory learner. That's the person who pours everything out of the box, throws the box away, but they get the instructions and they read it step by step because that's an internal dialogue that they're hearing, somebody reading them the instructions. That's our auditory learner. And then, of course, our kinesthetic learner, who's that? That's the person who takes the instruction in the box, throws it away, takes all that crap in the middle of the floor, starts touching it, feeling it, holding it up next to each other, and just builds it. And so, one of the cool things is a lot of people say, well, I'm not very kinesthetic. Well, or they say my client isn't kinesthetic. I say we should teach our clients to be kinesthetic, or teach them to be more visual. Or if I say have somebody who says, well, I can't visualize, that doesn't mean I shouldn't do visualization with them. It means I should teach them visualization, or I should teach them auditory learning. And so the process of a kinesthetic induction can actually teach that as well. One of the ways I bring kinesthetic experiences is, again, I don't ever do, I'm a person who does the element induction, hold people's hands and do this. I rarely ever touch clients. So the element induction is just not my preference. So one of the things that I do in kinesthetic experiences, I use autogenic training to create warmth and heaviness. In fact, the eyelids sticking or the hands becoming so warm and heavy that you cannot lift them actually is a kinesthetic experience. And it causes a person to become aware of the sensation of relaxation or of heaviness or warmth. So those are some ways that I bring it into the induction.
I lost you for a second there. Say that again.
I said, so those are some of the ways that I bring, bring it into the process. How do you bring kinesthetic into the induction?
In a similar way. I just had something, and then my mouse turned off, and it tricked me, and I got distracted. Oh, this is it. I think one of the reasons why people don't identify with being kinesthetic is because, especially in America, but probably in other countries where you guys are watching, our educational system really favors auditory and visual, right? Spelling tests for little kids are sound out the words or remember what was written on the board. But the higher you go up in academia, starting at kindergarten, you do less and less about physical sense of touch. In kindergarten, you're playing with blocks and you're learning math by counting the little things on the table and all that. But the older you get, the more it's visual and auditory. And so I think people just practice processing and adapting and thinking things through with those, and I think they're more respected as the thoughtful way of doing things, and trusting your gut is unrefined. Well, we should refine it. It's only unrefined because you haven't put in the work to be refined in that and learn how to trust your instincts and learn that your instincts and your gut impulses can be wonderful things and can compel you and impel you in directions that are healthy and wonderful. And so I like to jump right into positive resource states and anchors with those clients and get into happy memories. Easy ones to use are when you want a client to relax, say, when you've been away from home for a few days, you were on a trip for business or pleasure or whatever it was, and then you finally get home and you get to sleep in your bed. That extra level of relaxation that's in your bed where even the muscle tone in your face goes away? That real level of relaxation, that's what I want to go after. And I think most people have had that experience. Or you could say, when you were just drop dead tired, when you've been working hard, you've been running around, maybe you had to stay up late, or you didn't get a good night's sleep the night before, and you really just got to the relief of not having to try anymore and just enjoying that. I want to get into those memories that are purely kinesthetic or highly kinesthetic anyway, and I want to jump in through that way.
Sure. Let me kind of share with everybody a great induction that I like. Okay, and this is remember induction in arm rotation and have your hand go up, right? I don't know how many of you take hypnosis classes. You would do an arm levitation. Well, that's the hard way of doing it because gravity goes the other way. So I say go the easy way. And instead of doing an arm levitation, this is actually reverse levitation. So what I'd like you to do is hold your hand out just like this in front of you, okay? And let's stare at a spot on the back of the hand. Bring all of your attention to that spot. It can be a freckle or a bend in the skin or even a piece of jewelry or even a beautiful hair on the back of your hand. Really doesn't matter where it is, but just bring your attention to that place, to that spot, and focus all of your attention there. And as you bring all of your attention, all of your awareness to that spot on the back of your hand, since you've been holding your hand up now for about a minute, you'll probably notice a feeling of heaviness in the hand. As you breathe in and breathe out, bring all of your attention to that place on the back of your hand, and close your eyes. Now what's amazing is how, with the eyes closed, you can still focus your attention on that same spot on the back of the hand. It's almost as if you have X-ray vision. It's really pretty cool, isn't it? Now imagine that I have some gold hoops, heavy gold hoops. And if I were to place one over the back of your hand where you were focusing your attention, and you can feel the weight of that gold hoop as your entire arm notices the additional weight that you've added. And notice how even if you try to hold your arm up, the hand comes down a little bit with the weight of that golden hoop. Imagine I had another golden hoop to the back of the hand in the same place. A little bit more weight, bringing the hand down further. And as the hand moves down a bit, and I place another golden hoop in that hand. As you breathe in and out, you'll find it becomes simply far more comfortable to let the head drop all the way down into your lap or onto the desk and simply relax, breathing in, breathing out, all the way down now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And in this place, this space, this awareness that you've created right now, you've created a resource that we call hypnosis by simply using the creative part of the mind to create a physical awareness in the arm. By accessing this creative capacity of the mind, you've accessed that part of the mind which can create solutions to problems or affirmations of strengths and resources that exist within you. Because of that, we know that your success is unlimited. And this is a great place to be. Now, because this is only a demonstration, again, with the next breath, simply breathe in, let your lungs be filled with oxygen, let that oxygen spread to every cell of the body, open the eyes, and feel fantastic, ready for the rest of the day. If your eyes aren't open yet, by the way, open the eyes, Reiki, Reiki, Hazen, Mickey, as John Simone says. That is a very abbreviated version, but a version of the kinesthetic impression. You could use a bucket of sand and sand scoops or golden rings, whatever we want to, but it's really pretty cool. And that's one more style of induction that we can use in both teaching self-hypnosis as well as in bringing clients into the hypnotic state. Now, every Sunday night we get together to learn a little bit about hypnosis, to share some ideas, to share some resources. We're bringing together the resources of HPTI and HypnoThoughts Live, of subliminal science, of HypnoThoughts, and the ICBCH. And so Scott and I are either together or apart with the guests every Sunday night here. Something that's really cool, though, is right above the video is a link to a resource set that Scott Sandlin has created. There's 3 full MP3s in there, probably about an hour's worth or more, actually, of hypnosis. But you also made a great video explaining how to utilize those MP3s with clients. What's in that video, Scott?
So the video is an intro to, like you said, the 3 recordings that break down what is in each recording. So one of the things that's in the recordings, or in each of the recordings, is a dual induction. So there's 2 voices going in each one. There's some binaural beats going in each one. And so I kind of explain my philosophy on how and why to use those, and opportunities to use each recording. You know, to me, if I've got a client in my office, I can assess where the client is and change what I want to do accordingly. But with a recording, obviously, I don't have that luxury. So with all my, or most of my recordings, I should say, I want to stack the deck so that I'm getting them very deep, because I'm going to assume that the hypnosis, the dual induction, and the binaural beats, one of those 3 things is going to do its job, and the other 2 are just gravy. And that's going to get the client into a very deep state. So I go over those things in the and when to use each of the 3 recordings in the video that explains all of it very briefly.
These come with a license. You know, if you're a professional hypnotist, to actually share those resources with your clients. So that's really pretty cool. Because a lot of times, you know, MP3, can I share this or not? Scott's going to give you permission to share those with your clients in the context of professional hypnosis, not to post on the internet or whatever else, or claim to grow, but to share those resources with people who will benefit from it. We're right above this chat box. I want to thank everybody for participating tonight. You've been a lovely audience. If I could take you home with me, I would, but I'm not home. So, Scott Sandlin, thank you very much tonight. Everybody who's here, thank you very much. Great having you.
Thank you very much, Richard.
I look forward to seeing everybody. Yep. Your lips are moving, but you're not talking.
Oh, what's that? I just said thank you very much. It was fun as always.
All right. Great. See everybody next week.
Good night. But we're still on. I thought we were going to be off.
Yeah, I hit the stop button, but it's not stopping. So I'm just going to X out and see what happens.